Today I'm making lasagna, but with a twist, with my twist, with Shelly twist. Let's go. So, boom, back in 2020, the girl I thought was my closest friend was the one that hacked my phone the whole time. And I didn't find out until years later. So, I met this girl at work. We both worked night shift at the same agency. And for a whole year, we didn't even really speak. We were simply just coworkers. But after that year, we got close. So Shorty was a personal trainer, so she started training me for free. And that's how we started to bond. And the more that she would train me, the more I would obviously hang out with her. And then we started to have those things in common. We started hanging out all the time, mostly at the gym. And it was Blink at the time. I think Blink is now a Pure Gym or whatever, but it was Blink at the time. And this was during COVID, man. Like, I'm telling you, everything was closed. That's when back in the day, like, the supermarkets were talking about, oh, you got to be 5 feet, social distancing, and all these things. And I noticed that Shorty wanted to go to the supermarket every day. Mind you, I was in school. I was in community college at the time to finish up my associates, and they had to move my school to online. And I graduated with my associates online because of COVID. So I would work my night shift, I would leave, and then I had to go home to get myself together for school. So Shorty knew that, but I feel like she just wanted to constantly hang out. Like, over time, I was missing all the red flags. I was missing little signs. I noticed that she was a clingy friend, and that clingy shit is just too much sometimes, because it's like, you don't want no friend that's too clingy, too attached, too much, like, want all your time and attention. Like, the shit is weird, okay? So that's a red flag you need to look for. If you have a friend that always want to be up under you and you don't fuck women, like, be wary, because what? Like, looking back now, I realized she had a lot going on. Like, she went through abuse, physical abuse by her baby father. He was also in prison. She carried a lot of trauma. And I didn't realize at the time how that could affect how she moved in general, or how she moved towards me. I'm just at the time I was 23, 24. I'm just a young, naive girl, just living my life, have no major responsibilities. I paid rent, I had no kids. So I feel like sometimes people hate that for you. People will really hate that for you. And you really just gotta look out for shit like that, because sometimes people are battling their own demons and you can't tell, because they're such great actors and actresses, bro. So, but yeah, so a couple months went on or whatever during 2020, and I noticed my phone started acting weird. Like, when I tell you I've never experienced my phone acting like this before, like, my phone was legit acting weird. And I started getting messages, apps was moving funny, things just felt off, and I wasn't understanding it, because I'm an unproblematic person. When I tell you, I stay to myself, I mind my business, I stay in my own lane. So for that to happen to my phone, it had to be like someone close to me, 100%. It had to be someone close to me. And so, I started getting texts from random numbers. I think one time I called the number and it was saying, like, it's a Text Me Now subscriber. So I looked that up and I realized, like, Text Me Now is an app that has random numbers that you could text people from. And I'm like, what the fuck? So somebody really took the time out to download this app, put my number in it, and torment me. Think about that. You gotta be fucking crazy. You gotta have a lot of time on your hands. Okay, that's some weird shit. So, that's what was going on. So I kept getting these weird ass messages, and then, the messages started saying scary shit like, I know where you work, I know what car you drive, I know where you live. So I got scared. I was shook. The fuck? This ain't no scary movie. This was my life. I was shook. So I went to the NYPD police precinct. And, they were pretty much saying, like, there's not much they could really do, because it's just text messages. I printed out the text messages. I gave it to the cop, and I filed a police report. And, bro, you gotta be damn near dying to get some type of fucking help from these NYPD officers. Like, this shit makes no sense. I said, there's someone stalking me. This is what I keep getting. I'm showing them my phone is getting disrupted. How can y'all help me, bro? Y'all, she even changed the names in my phone. So I would think I'm texting one person, but I'm actually texting someone else. At one point, I thought my supervisor sent me something inappropriate. But come to find out, she had changed his name under the number. So she's texting me from one number, and I'm thinking I'm texting Sammy, and I'm really texting Jessica or some shit. So it was just crazy. A lot of confusion. I know at that point, like, some of my friends and family thought I was probably bugging. I don't know. I think this girl was really making me out to look like crazy. But I wasn't crazy. Like, I've never experienced no shit like this in my life. You know, and my supervisor almost got in some deep trouble because, you know, when I got to work, I filed a complaint, and that's when they were asking if I wanted to do a sexual harassment case or whatever, and he could have gotten some shit. The whole time, this man had nothing to do with nothing, bro. So now I'm just out here making up shit on people's lives. So good thing I canceled that, and I was like, you know what, I'm not 100% sure. I checked the phone, and I noticed that it was not his number. It was just under his name. So I let it go. But I remember they had a staff meeting about the phone situation, and this girl is throughout all these things, bro. This girl came with me to the precinct. She was at the staff meeting. She's consoling me and acting like, you know, you're not in this alone. I got you. I got your back. We're gonna find out who this is. Bitch, it's you. It's fucking you this whole time, and you just sitting here like this is some shit normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to stop watching Lifetime movies or some shit, because I swear, that bitch is crazy, and I doubt that it was her first occurrence. Ain't no way this is your first time doing this shit. This is some shit you do to people. You target girls who are innocent and naive and shit, and you fucking try to ruin their lives. I'm convinced that's what you do with your daily life. Like, this shit is weird. You have a son. Her son was 5 years old at the time. How the fuck you find time? But then again, she had mad time, bro. She had time. So at the time, I was dating this guy during COVID. I was dating this guy, and she pretty much knew all about him. I was happy with him. He had his own place. He drove his own car. You know, I'm 23, 24, and I'm like, okay, I got a grown man. I was excited. So, you know, when you're excited about your new man, you talk about him to your friends, and, you know, you kind of brag about it, or because you're just happy, you just emphasize the relationship more to your people because you think you could trust them. And it's not really bragging. It's just like you're so excited for love or for whatever, you just start putting people in your business. So that was me, putting her in my business. So she knew about this guy. We spent a lot of time together. He was really sweet to me, and you know, like, I would talk about those things. Mind you, she's going through her own shit with men. I remember she was in her 30s, early 30s, and she was dating a guy in college who sleeps at the college dorm, and mama and daddy pay for the school and all this stuff. I just feel like they were on two different levels. Maybe it was just for sex, but it was just a weird dynamic to me. And I mentioned it to her, and she ain't like that shit. You know, I try to keep it a buck with my friends, and I want you to keep it a buck with me too. So whatever, you know. But I feel like there could have been jealousy about me having a good relationship and her still being like confused because the guy wasn't really her boyfriend. They were just like fuck buddies, and she was just kind of like, her love life was a little messy. Okay, cool. You chose that love life, and I chose mine. So, you know, at one point, she started to try to convince me, like, oh, have you asked your man, like, what's going on? Does he know who might be messing with your phone and da-da-da? So she kind of got into my head. I'm not going to lie. She kind of got into my head. And I remember hanging out with my man at the time. And I was like, yo, I don't know what's going on. I don't really be hanging out with people like that. I only hang out with you and her and blah, blah, blah. And I remember that turned into an argument between me and my man. And, you know, after a while, we decided to just end things. So I blamed that situation. There was other things, obviously, that boiled up. But the main thing was I had a phone issue We don't know who is messing with my phone. I accused him of messing with my phone. So that broke trust. And then it just went from it just went downhill from there. So I was just like, this stupid bitch ruined my relationship. And, that was the end of that. Y'all, I felt so bad for accusing that man. I really blamed him for hacking my phone. And the whole time, like, after we broke up, right? We done broke up. I was changing my number like a trillion times. When I tell you I've never changed my number so much a day in my life, I literally was changing my number every month, damn near. Okay? And I noticed a pattern. Every time I changed my number, I gave her my number, and I gave my friends my number, and I gave him my number. And after a couple hours, I would start getting those messy text messages again. So I'm like, yo, so mind you, we done broke up now. And I was just mainly rocking with her. I had other friends, but, it was mainly her at the time. So I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, I changed my number again. And then I gave her my number. And the shit was happening. And I'm like, okay, we done broke up. Why am I still getting these messages? And then I noticed some of the messages was like work-related shit. So I'm like, nah, this man doesn't know these type of information about my job. I never really spoke about my job in that way for him to know this. So I'm like, nah, it has to be somebody from work. And I know for a fact, I don't talk to nobody at work. It was only her that I would hang with outside of work. So who else would be playing on my phone line? No. So I was like, nah, something ain't right. So that's when I followed my gut. And I was like, you know what? I need to switch locations. I need to switch work departments. And that's when I left the Queens location and I went out to Suffolk. I went all the way out to North Babylon, Long Island. And once I went out there, I changed my number again for the final time. The final time I changed my number again. And guess what, y'all? Guess fucking what? After I changed my number again, I decided I'm not going to give her my number. I decided to just go cold turkey. Cold ass turkey. Like, I did not give Shorty my number. And the guy that broke up with me, he didn't have my number either. And can y'all believe my phone went back to normal? My phone went back to normal. Y'all, my phone went back to normal. Mind you, I done lost everything. I had my old iCloud that had my graduation pictures from high school, my graduation pictures from elementary school. I had so many memories in that phone. And that bitch took that shit away from me. Imagine somebody going through your iCloud and looking at all your stuff, all your text messages, all your pictures, all your personal stuff. I had passwords saved. Can you imagine that hurt? Mind you, people are fucking dying. It's COVID. And now I got to go through this type of shit during COVID. I was devastated. I really was. I started gaining weight. I think I had a little depression phase. And I was just going through a lot of shit emotionally because I'm like, yo, what have I done to people for them to play on my phone like that? You know what I'm saying? You just erased a lot of my memories, a lot of my personal memories that I had in that phone. I had that iCloud since I was a little ass teenage girl. Okay, since I first had an iPhone. You took all those memories from me. You know what I'm saying? And I really hope you're rotten in hell at some point. Wherever the fuck you are, you better rot. Because you are a piece of shit. And that's not nice to do that type of shit to innocent people. You understand? I'm a genuine person. And I don't like people play on my time. So that's why now, certain friendships, if I feel something is off, the energy is weird, whatever, I be quick to cut people off. I'm not with that shit. I'm not with that weird ass energy. I'm scared of certain behaviors. Anything that remind me, give me PTSD, I be out, But I'm also working on that too. I try to communicate how I feel with my friends and address shit right there and then so that I don't have to react like that. You know what I'm saying? But man, that was a time. That was crazy. That was crazy. The amount of tears. I done cried on this girl's shoulder. I done told her all my business. And this bitch is really sitting there plotting on me, plotting against me the whole time. Yo, people are really sick. People are really sick. Like, that's the thing with mental illness. You can't see it. You cannot see it. People will legit ruin your life and act innocent, and everyone will love them and make it out to look like you the bad guy. Watch out for those people. I'm telling you right now. Watch out for those people, you know. And it is crazy. I feel like, again, she had gotten in my phone because I had a fingerprint phone at the time, the iPhone with the fingerprint. And I think shorty, like, unlocked my phone with my finger while I was asleep at the job. And that's how I really believe she got into my phone, because, again, a lot of those messages were work-related. My man at the time didn't know that. He didn't know certain things, so it had to be her. 100% had to be her, So I'm glad I cut that girl off. I just went ghost, never spoke to her ever again with no notice, and my phone went back to normal, So what is it, 6 years later now? The guy that had broken up with me, we had recently reconnected. We reconnected back in January. And now he my man. Yep, I got my man back. Period per. Yeah, bitch. You thought you was ruining something. But my man came back for me because he know I'm the one. The 2 and the 3. And the 4. Ha ha, bitch. I won. But nah. Yeah, he told me, like, I was a really great person. And he felt bad about everything that happened. And, he was just upset that I accused him, and he really wasn't on that type of time. Mind you, this guy was in school, he's a co-teacher, and he's just like, or a teacher assistant. He was something. Minding his business. He had busy days, busy weeks, and he was also trying to finish up his degrees. That man had no time for that bullshit. Meanwhile, this bitch was sad, unhappy, unlucky. We work night shift, and she be at home twiddling her fingers for the day. Like, I was in school getting my shit together. You was just home bored. So you had time, baby. You had time. And then I remember there was a time, y'all, I was at my man's house, and I told her, prior to me getting to my man's house, she's like, oh, girl, what are you doing today? And I said, I'm hanging out with my boo. I'm going to be at his house all day. We're going to hang out, whatever. She's like, oh, okay, tell me why shorty FaceTime me. Why are you FaceTiming me? I was with my man. She's FaceTiming me. So I got annoyed. I'm like, why is she FaceTiming me? So I answered the phone. Next thing you know, she's like, hey, what are you up to? And I showed her my man, and I'm like, I'm hanging out with my boyfriend. She's like, oh, okay. Like, as if I'm neglecting her. Like, we're not fucking, bro. We're not fucking. And I remember there was a time, too, I was at her house. It was her son's 5th birthday or 6th birthday. And it was just me, her, and her sister. There was no other friends. I thought that was weird because she has friends who got kids. So I'm like, when people don't have too much friends, look out for that too. That's a red flag. Because what do you mean you don't have a lot of friends? I'm not saying have a whole courtyard of friends, but at least 5 friends you could count on your hand for real. Where are your friends? So look out for those things too, y'all. But yeah, so I remember she also confessed to me too. She was like, oh, have you ever tried girls? And I'm like, try girls? What do you mean? She's like, would you ever be into girls or whatever? Would you ever explore? And I'm like, no, I'm not into that. I'm strictly dickly. And I feel like that could have been something too. Like, she wanted me to be so connected to her to the point where she probably thinks she could change my mind or whatever. And it's like, no, bitch, ain't no changing my mind. I'm stubborn as fuck. And whatever the fuck I want to do, that's what I do. So, I don't know, y'all. People just be crazy as hell. You just gotta be careful. The situation really changed me because I really trusted her. But you can't trust these people. You cannot trust these people. Just have discernment. And if you learn nothing from this story, go back and listen so you can learn something. You know what I'm saying? Trust your gut. Trust your instincts. If something ain't right, cut it off. Cut that friendship off. It's not worth your sanity. If somebody is acting jealous, don't be friends with people who are jealous of you. And make sure that you look out for those friends who are Me Too. Those Me Too friends are dangerous. If you say, oh, I'm going to do XYZ, they're like, oh, I was thinking about doing XYZ too. It's like, bitch, everything that I decide I'm going to do, you going to do too? Look out for those people. They want to be you. They want to have your life. And they trying too hard.